Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guide, Zollin Ironshield. And for all you guys that need to know out there about the UI system or the instance finding, a grouping system in Lord of the Rings Online, this is the video for you. A lot of you have requested this on my channel, and a lot of you, I'm sure, need this if you're coming back to LOTRO or you're a brand new player and you want to know about the game a little bit more and how to group up with people for instance or a raid, aka also known as the dungeon in other MMOs, but in Lord of the Rings Online we call them instances. So, let's get straight into it. Don't forget to like, subscribe if it does help you out, but let's go straight into it. So the instance button is right down here at the bottom. As you can see, this little one right here. You can also use a certain command to open it. It is the instance finder command, I believe, is Control-J. There it is right there. It tells you right there. That's another way you can get to it as well. So when you open this up, there's two things you need to think about immediately, okay? I'm going to show you some examples here. I have my other character on my other account, which is not in the same group as my character here, okay? There's two sections of the instance finder or UI system in this game, okay? There's the left side, which is the instance selection, how you set it up, what level you want, all that kind of stuff. I have a whole video on that, but I'll go a quick briefing on that as well. But what you guys want to know is, how do you use the part that you invite people, right? And like group up, and how does this even work? So, the way the instance finder works is there's a little bit of effort on your part compared to some other games, okay? So I will say I think that needs a little bit of an update. If you guys hear this, Standing Stones, a little bit of an update would be nice. But basically how it works is you create your instance on the right side. People can see them. These are other people's instances. We will show you a couple different versions, being like offline. What's the difference if you have it open? Because you can have a request when you're offline, that kind of thing. So basically how this works is it's a way to help build your instance without doing the common way of, asking in world chat, hey, anyone want to do this instance and the name of it? So for our example today, we are going to use Warg Pens, okay? Because I really like Warg Pens. I think it's a really simple one. So I'm going to open up on this side over here, Warg Pens of Dol Guldur. So now when I hover it, as you can see, all the instances on the right disappear because no one is really doing the Warg Pens right now. And again, I can click this filter at the bottom. This is always your come back to, okay? Always click the show all. If you want to see what everybody is doing, it shows the status of basically the person who created the request or group they're making, the instance they're doing right underneath here, right? The level they want to do it at, somewhere between 75 and 120, tier 1, and of course all classes they want to join this. And the member is a runekeeper who's doing it, right? That's the name of the character again. So this is basically, now I'm going to walk you through how to make it yourself and show you what it looks like from the other person's perspective, or if you're going to join one or you're not making one, perspective. Okay, so we're going to go through it really quickly. Again, do not think about the left side for a moment, okay? The only thing about the left side you want being anything past this bar where my mouse is right here, anything past this bar, don't think about the left side for a second. That's once you create the instance, once you make your group. So the right side is basically to help you make a group, right, and plan it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, I want people to join me for Warg Pens. So definitely do make sure you click on Warg Pens. So you do have to do this. You have to do one thing on the left side. Click on the instance you want. Now, as you notice, when I click on that, they all go away because no one else is doing Warg Pens at this moment on my server, right? Or needs to do it, which makes sense. It's kind of a weird level. My server's max level, no one would be doing it. So go up to the top right if you want to make one, though. Choose your levels, right, that you want on this side, grouping request. 65 to 140. All right, I'll leave it at 65 to 140. All classes, you can bring this down. Let's say I only want to have hunters join me, right? So I could just like take everything off and I only want hunter, class of hunter to be able to join me, right? So, of course, I need to leave hunter on, right? Leave hunter on, okay? But again, set all, just refreshes it. I'm gonna leave them all on. Click create, all right? Create. Now you're like, okay, so now what do I do? All right, here's where you need to realize I'm going to pop over my other character back and forth. I'm going to show you. So now that you have this little thing, you can always go down here at the bottom and click show my instances. So you could have multiple. I could make another request for something else if I wanted to, right? Excuse me, that character can only have one up. But you can say my instances, right? And now you can see there's my Warg Pen one. This one is another person that I was joining, so don't worry about that. So I click it. It's like, okay, well, no one's joining it, right? It's just the request is there, right? So now let's pop over to the other side to see what you would see or someone would see if you made this request, okay? So we're gonna hop over to Zollin. Okay, so here's Zollin, right? I'm gonna say show all instances. Again, they're all here. Oh, look, if I say show all, look at that, Zollin, my other character, right? We're on Zollin, right? There he is. Now, one thing I do need to show you guys here, realize that I am in a group right now with Zollin. I'm going to not be in the group, just because I want to make sure you know you can do this with not being in a group. The whole point of this thing is so you don't have to be in a group, right? You can be looking for people in the whole world without having to, like, be asking and then sending invites and stuff immediately, all right? You're still going to have to do that, but this is to kind of build your group, right? So now you're like, okay, here's someone you're looking, I really want to do warg pens. So you can go over here on your the left side, click on warg pens, and oh, there's a person doing warg pens. This guy's doing warg pens, all right? So then you can click on this, and you can say down here either tell or join. What tell does is, I'm gonna bring up the chat box here. When you tell, it immediately just slash the command to talk to Zollin, and you can go, hey, I'll join, right? I'll join, right? You could tell him, and then click join. And what happens is you didn't get invited to a group you didn't get invited to an instance, you are invited to this instance lobby thing, okay? That's what's gonna confuse people, and I wanna make sure you guys realize that. This is a planner. It's this side right here, the instance finder. The right side of it is a planner. Does not actually invite you to the group. All right, so now if I go back to Zollin, oh look, see this little alert that popped up right here by your messages? See it right there? If you click on it or you hover it, excuse me, I should have hovered it. Okay, here we go. I'll show you. All right, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna rejoin. There we go. If I hover it, it says another player is interested in grouping for warg pens of Dol Guldur. And then that would be if I'm in the world, right, and I don't have my instance finder open, I'd be like, oh, cool. So I go to the instance finder and say, oh, it's a hunter. Okay, I can see, you know, all right, cool. So now, let's say I want to invite him to a group, right? So let's say now you can have up to 3 people in warg pens, right? Let's say there's 3 members here, ready, right? I don't have another count on to show you right this second. But let's say there's 3 ready, and I know they're all online. I can go right-click, invite to group. So right-click on this little thing. He's already part of it, and invite to group. What that's going to do is it's going to immediately send an invite to join a fellowship with Zollin. So Zollin can accept to join the fellowship, right? So that is a real quick way, instead of having to like go to their name and chat and say, you know, talk to them, and then, you know, right click on their name and say, you know, invite, blah, 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 that kind of thing, right? It saves you that whole step. So now whoever the leader is can say, okay, I'm going to set it up now. This is the moment where you're going to go to the other side, which you all know if you watched my other instance finder video, right? And this is the moment you're going to set up your things. Let's say we want to do it at tier 2. Let's say we want to do it at level 130 instead of 140 because, you know, Zarlin's only level 130. He's not max level, right? So I'm going to do that. Boom, boom. And now size is always limited to 3 with warg pens, so you can't change that. Some you can. And I'm going to say launch. And now I have an instance ready to go, right? And I can travel now to instance. I can also travel later. It will expire after 5 minutes. And I could cancel it and not do it. But if I click travel now, actually, and you go back to Zollin, oh look, Zollin has the option to join now too.
The pens of Dol Guldur
right?
are where the hounds of the Dark Lord are bred, trained, and
if you
kept.
have,
Here, goblin keepers care for the matron of the pack.
Galadriel's voice is very loud. If your friend is like, I can't join, why can't I join? It's grayed out. Not allowed here. You just need to be in a different area. For example, Zarland is inside a housing area. You just need to go out into the real world. You're inside an instanced area already. So just leave, and then that person will join. If they're confused, you can tell them that. You know, oh, you might be in something you can't travel, right? Travel now, all right? Just so they know of that. Again, now you know all those steps, all right? So now let's talk about a couple more things, all right? So, what happens if you're logged off when this happens, okay? So I'm going to move off here, and I'm going to have Zollin create it now, right? All right, so 1 second. Oh, but we have to look at this though, my instances. How do you cancel it, right? If you want to make a different one or cancel it. You literally just go to the finder, my instances, and you cancel it. Again, mine has already been canceled because technically we already used it. So when it says show my instances, it sometimes will show an older one that you already have. But just to refresh that, if you're having that glitch, just click my instances, right? I mean, say, you know, when you click on it, it'll disappear. Then you know that's not an issue. And then you can just, you know, create another one. Excuse me. It's also up there. There's update and remove, right? So if I wanted to do a different one now, let's say I want to use the Defensive Minas Tirith, I can say up here, see, I can join these people if I wanted to. Sorry, I was still here. I click, you need to go back and click on the actual work pens on the left. This is a little bit tricky. Again, this is probably something they could refine a little bit for people not to get confused. But you go back and click on work pens, go to yours, and then you can go up here and say remove. This will remove the quest entry, being the quest entry making a group of the planner side. Okay, so remove. All right, so I have now removed it removed the me from that group, right? And I clicked remove again to completely remove. Again, when you first clicked remove, you noticed it removed Zollin. Okay, so a little bit of a trick there again. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna walk through one more time for you. Work pens, create. Okay, so it's created for work pens. Now I'm gonna look over here on Zollin and go, oh, yep, he wants. Okay, so I'm gonna join that group. All right, and then again, I could tell message, that kind of thing. But if I go back over here again to Zollin, show my instances, show work pens, remove, this will remove, first it removes me. And it actually, if you notice, it left Zollin in the group, which is kind of interesting. So if you just want to remove yourself, now Zollin is actually technically the leader of that panel, right? Which he can click remove, or I can click remove again on Zollin, and then it totally disappears for Zollin too. That's a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know, like, I really need to message that so people know. Careful, once you click remove, you're not the leader anymore. You can now create it. So again, I'm going to show you now. Zollin is going to click create. I'm still selected on work pens. Okay, don't get confused. Zollin's going to do it now. All right. So over here, right, and now it's set up. All right. I could remove it right now, boop, and not have the request, right, if I didn't mean to do that. But I'm going to create it again. Going to go back over to Zollin. Look, oh, he needs you know. All right, sweet. I will join, right? But now I can't update or remove it. But now if Zollin, let's say you want your friends to be able to still do that planning phase right there, and yet you don't want to do it, you can remove yourself and leave it. And what happens is, if you notice when I go back to Zollin, now Zollin has the option to remove it, and he is technically in charge. It puts a little star by my name, that meaning I'm in charge of the planning thing now. You see how I kind of gave it to him? Now realistically, I could click remove again, but actually, oh, you know what? It's actually, I just found a little glitch. Did you notice that? When I clicked off it and then went back to it, now that I'm not the leader, I can, it's still, I can't remove it. Did you notice that? So now that we all know this little hint, trick, okay? When you are the leader and there's people in your group, you need to double tap remove twice before you click off anything. If you're totally removing it and you're not giving it to someone else to control. If you want someone else to be able to control it, just click remove once, it takes you off it, and then click somewhere else and you're removed. You're out of there. If you double click remove, it's gonna just, you know, not only will remove you from the group and give leader to someone else, it will delete it, right, for everybody. And of course, that's not that big of a deal. They can make another one themselves if they know how to do this, right? It's not that hard of a thing. But again, the biggest thing I need you guys to remember is the fact that it is a planner. The right side is a planner. It doesn't actually do the inviting for you and that kind of thing. This guy's like has a flag right in my face. Come on, man. I'm trying to explain stuff. So anyway, that's what you really got to think about. That's what's important. So now that you kind of get the gist of how to do that, right? Let's, and remember, you can walk through those steps I just showed you and do it yourself. And just practice it a few times. It's really not that hard. But let's say now I want Zollin to create a work pen one, okay? So I'm going to have him create one. Boop, there we go. It's created. And now I am curious to see what happens when we log Zollin off, right? So let's see what happens. So he's going to be logged off in 10 seconds. And as you can see, if I'm still clicked on work pens on the left, again, you can go through and click on every instance, or you can say show all. And remember, if you notice, it clears the left side what you're clicked on and just shows you every instance. If you click on one of these, it'll pop to the one they're doing, right? So, but I'm like, oh no, I want to do work pens, right? So work pens. Okay, so there is, and you can see show all. Oh, look, there's work pens. Interesting, there's my old one. I'm gonna remove my old one. I don't want my old one still there, but mine was still there. But if I look and I say show, right, all, and I look for Zollin, if you notice, it disappears. So these requests can only be on and planned when you're online. That's kind of important to remember. So now let's log back in. I'm curious if it will leave it on there for us. I will show you right now. Again, this is something, I don't always use this personally myself, this instance planner on the right side. Again, instance finder meaning it helps you plan on the right side, and the left side is how you create the instance, launch it, travel to it, that kind of thing, okay? You do need the left side, though, for clicking on it helps filter the right side. So there is a combination between the two. I just want to make sure you realize that the right side is pretty much just a planner, okay? So let's see, Warg Pens. Oh, look at that. Zarlin's back on, and guess what? His thing is still there. So you can leave your thing set up. Now I could say join Zarlin, and look at that. If I go over to Zarlin, if you notice the little alert thing here again, I'll bring it up. See, someone wants to join your interest in your thing. So again, you can leave that up all the time, and you could be set and don't have to redo it. Let's say you were waiting for someone and no one really, answered the call, basically. And you're like, oh, well, it was a weird time of day. I'll play again tomorrow. So leave the instance thing set up, and then you'll be set when you come back, right? Because it'll be set up and you can say, show my instance. Oh, look, this guy wanted to join. And then again, what can you do? You can right click, you can invite to group the people that wanted to join. He sees it's online, perfect, all right, that kind of thing. Now, what if Zollin's offline and Zarlin's now back online? What happens then? All right, so let me show you that real quick. This is the kind of stuff that's you all want to know, right? This is what will get confusing if you don't know this stuff. If you notice, Zollin disappeared, and I can invite to group, but there's no one to invite group but myself, right? So that doesn't really do anything. But when Zollin gets back online, okay, again, remember, Zarlin is the leader right now. He's the one asking people to join, okay? That's important. And then boom, suddenly the alert comes back on. Oh, look, Zollin just came back online. All right, well, sweet. I'm gonna invite him to group, right? Invite to group. Go back over here. Oh, Zollin sees the invite. He accepts it because he wanted to join for the Warg Pens. And again, one last time, what do you do then to launch it? You go over to your My Instances, right? You can click on this, or you can go over to Warg Pens. It really doesn't matter which way you go. It's gonna bring you back to your thing here. And then you go up and you do your tier, size of your fellowship, what level, and you click launch down here in the bottom left. And now that you're in the group, since you invited through the finder thing here, right? Through the, or I'd say planner. I'd almost call it a planner. I know it's a finder because it's for instances, but I'd almost call the site a planner, the right side. And then he's like, oh, all right, well, we're gonna do it. And then he can launch, and Zarlin can't travel because, again, I have him in the housing area. So keep that in mind. Galadriel, your voice is very loud.
Here, goblin keepers care for the matron of the pack.
Stop it, you're interrupting our video. Okay, so anyway, you guys, that is pretty much about it with the planner on the right. So please leave your comments, like and subscribe if this helped you out. I do a lot of Lord of the Rings content on this channel, and LOTRO is a big one, and you guys were requesting this video. I hope this helped you out. Please, please, please leave a comment. If you'd like more help on something, I will do my best to answer the questions. And, yeah. So anyway, the instance finder, and I would call the site the planner. I think I'll probably put that in the title, because I think that's kind of important. So, there's how to use the instance UI instance finder. Again, it is very helpful. As you can see, this group is trying to do the Nurz Gaza, and if I click it, it will show you that it will rescue. If I go over here and hover it, it says the following member of your fellowship are not eligible, Zarlin. So again, you could also join as a fellowship, all right? So that is a very interesting side note, okay? So if you're a group of 2 and you're looking for a group, you can immediately make the group off the bat. So again, this is really, really important. So we're gonna do one more thing. I know I just said bye, but one more thing for you guys. So what if you're a group, right? You basically, I'm going to remove this instance. I'm gonna let Zollin make it this time. So, excuse me, this is very important too. Zollin is not the leader of the fellowship, so it is not giving him the option to create anything. All right, right now, do you see that? So I'm gonna have Zarlin give Zollin leadership in the fellowship, right? Transfer leadership. And now Zollin should be able to create. There we go, the finder, okay? So again, this is a 2-man, I wanna make it a 6-man, right? And then you can create, and there we go. And the interesting thing is here, if you noticed, that Zollin did not automatically join. So that is another thing that I would highly recommend they probably fix. Oh, you know what? That might be, excuse me, that's probably because Zollin can't do the defense of, he's a different level. Yeah. Oh no, defensive ministerial. Here we go, one second. No, before I say that, take it back. There it is. He can definitely join. Join. All right. So, interestingly enough, you cannot automatically be joined to the planner if you're in the same fellowship, which is kind of weird. I think they should update that. It should automatically join everybody in if you're trying to make a group. But it does look like, so now if I leave this planner, all right, Zollin's going to leave, and Zollin is going to remove this one. If I wanted to look for a different group, I could look for a different group, like this group, and I could say join. And again, it does not join the whole group, it just joins me. But again, there's 4 of us in this group. But I could then tell my friend Zollin and say, hey, go find that group. Oh, look at that. It immediately shows up, though, because he is in the fellowship. All right, so there's the thing with the finder. We were already in a fellowship, so it immediately popped up for me. And then I can say join as my hunter. So there's 5 of us in that group, right, for that raid. But I'm going to leave because they're going to get their hopes up that I'm going to play with them for that raid, and I'm not going to. So we're not going to get their hopes up there. So good. Now you know all that stuff. I know that was a little bit longer there, but that was kind of important to know, the little ins and outs. There's a couple little things that I highly recommend that they update. But again, this finder is, this right side is a planner. The left side instance finder works great. Again, I still highly recommend if you're really looking for a group, click this little bubble, go to this, go to world or the LFF looking for fellowship. And then do, you know, type in, tell the name of your raid, what level, and that you're looking for a group. Does anyone want to do it with you? That's a good way to get people's attention too. A lot of people watch the chat box more than coming and watching the finder, I find. But as you can see, there are people that do it. These people are all online right now. There are 30 entries on people who are trying to do different instances. So people definitely do use it. And this is a weird time of day I'm playing. I'm not playing at the big time of day. So hopefully that helps you guys out. You guys have a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. Please, please, please don't forget to leave your comments, like and subscribe if I did earn it. Subscribe buttons be right there. Next episode for this guide playlist will be up there, and a LOTRO Tailor Made content's over there with voiceovers to the Lord of the Rings Online, which is a fantastic game, and they have been updating it greatly in the last few weeks. I mean, excuse me, not weeks, last 2 years. And it has just been coming, it's growing, and I've been here since the very beginning of the game, and it's really fun to see it growing so much and so many new faces to join us and play the game together. So, and thank you for being here on the channel with me on Voice of the Rings, too, because our channel's not very old. All right, you guys, at least the time of this video. You have a wonderful day in Middle-earth, and I'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Stay happy!